So, the Xbox Showcase, it happened. I'm late to talk about it, but I finally want to talk about it. So let's talk about it. I start by giving my general thoughts on the show and later highlight the games that I'm most interested in. Not going to do a full breakdown because one, I wouldn't want the video to be too long, and two, it happened days ago, and three, you can check out this episode of Doom Series Podcast where we discuss the past week of showcases. But anyways, general thoughts. The positives first. Now, I would say I thought the showcase was pretty good. It was well paced. About 27 games were shown, 21 games coming to Game Pass, 11 first-party titles with a mix of new reveals and in-depth looks, and release windows for previously announced titles. Starfield is set to release this September, with Forza coming out in October. Hellblade and Avowed are planned for 2024. As for the negatives, I definitely would have preferred to have seen more gameplay for certain titles, such as Hellblade and Fable, for example. More on those later. The Coalition, 343, The Initiative, Undead Labs, and other studios were absent from the show, which isn't too surprising as they're not going to show everything being developed, but disappointing nonetheless, especially for Perfect Dark and State of Decay 3, given how long it's been since those were initially revealed. And again, we definitely could have used more gameplay, but given the amount of time and games they wanted to fit in, I'm not entirely upset about this, but still something to talk about. Overall, I would say it was a pretty good showcase, and I'd consider it one of their better ones. Easily would give it a passing grade, whatever that may be depending on your own personal scale, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 8 out of 10, whatever. But that's pretty much it for general thoughts. Now I want to talk about the standout titles for myself, and I want to start with Fable. Now, I know Twitter is kind of burning down due to the female shown not being attractive enough, but that aside, this was in-game footage, and I have to say the game looks pretty amazing. I mean, coming from the people of Playground and Forza Horizon, I guess that's not too much of a surprise, but some people were hesitant. Now, going by some of the tweets from some of the developers working on the game, there is gameplay mixed in with the trailer, such as combat sections and what it will look like, but with unique cinematic camera angles. Perhaps the walking segments were also gameplay, but it's a mix of like cinematic and gameplay is what I'm getting at. And the chase sequence at the end with the giant was definitely gameplay footage. Take a shot every time I say gameplay. Don't do that. But I personally would have preferred to see gameplay similar to what we got with Clockwork Revolution and how it was shown. Nonetheless, I'm excited to see more of this game, and I'm curious to see about how they're going to approach the story, going with the actual fables such as Jack and the Beanstalk, if I think that's what they're referencing at the end. I don't know my fairy tales. And I'm really curious to see how combat would play out, at least a proper deep dive into the combat. I recently went back to playing the previous entries, and combat leaves a lot to be desired in terms of difficulty, I guess, and death and so much more. But overall, I'm hoping there's some solid changes coming with this entry, and it's just wait to see more. But I'm glad to see that we got a in-depth look of sorts, and hopefully the next time we see it, if it is at a developer direct, similar with all the games I'm going to reference down below, or later, I don't know why I said down below the video, we get a proper dive into the gameplay next time. But moving on to Hellblade 2. Every time this game is shown, my excitement meter goes off the charts for a brief moment. This game looks stunning, honestly, and Ninja Theory's storytelling talent is on full display, at least in my opinion. And rewatching it with headphones just enhances the experience. Again, it's one of the main things you gotta do if you play the first game is to play it with headphones. And I cannot wait to experience this game. But, and it's huge, but I need to see a proper combat sequence. As much as I love the first game, the combat was lacking in depth, and it's one of the main improvements I hope we get in Hellblade 2. I know there was a combat sequence shown at one of the Game Awards shows, the second appearance on the show with her throwing spears at the giants, but I want to see a proper brawl with the enemies to see if there's any new attacks, new special abilities. Just what level of depth can we expect with this combat, especially with the hints of combat training and all the other type of behind the scene developer videos that we gotten from Ninja Theory. And because of this lack of combat, I am a bit nervous. Not to say that I think it'll be bad or anything like that, but if we'll see any proper substantial changes with this sequel. But nonetheless, when it comes to the cinematics, the story approach, the audio design, all the other aspects of the previous game that made me love it so much, it looks to be dialed up to 11. Overall, looking forward to playing it, and hopefully they can land the 2024 window that they announced at the show. If they miss it, I'm not gonna be mad because a delayed game is, I'm not gonna say the whole phrase, but anyway. Now for Avowed. I will admit, on initial viewing, I was slightly taken aback because I had a different image in mind in terms of the art direction. That said, not saying what was shown was bad by any means, but even the change in font of the title was a little, I'll just say I prefer the old font style. And yes, we're comparing font styles now, I know. But hearing that it's not a Skyrim-sized game, but rather a Outer Worlds-sized game has some people turned off, but personally, it's not a big issue for me considering I genuinely enjoyed the Outer Worlds, both in writing and the size of the game. I thought it was a well-compact adventure, and the writing and combat was good. It was good. So the combat shown in Avowed's trailer looks promising to say. Dual-wielding pistols with your usual sword and axes and shield combat, but the spellcasting, which was hinted at the first reveal of Avowed, looks interesting to say the least, with fireballs dragging people into the dirt, summoning a type of black hole gravity manipulating spell to suspend enemies. It looks fun. And this is an Obsidian game, so I'm looking forward to experiencing the story and learning more about this corruption, the writing, and I look forward to it. Just playing their previous titles, Obsidian's kind of promising, so that's what I'm looking forward to Avowed. And since this does take place in the Pillars of Eternity universe, I may attempt to play through them to familiarize myself with the lore. Next is Clockwork Revolution, and I got major Bioshock Infinite vibes from this game, which is a compliment. I know some people might use it as their copy, and no, it's a compliment to be referenced to Bioshock Infinite. I enjoy Bioshock Infinite. I love the steampunk aesthetic, and the game centering around time travel and manipulation. Both the story and the gameplay mechanics has me interested. Now, admittedly, I don't have a lot of history with inXile titles, but the amount of time I did put into Wasteland 3 was enough to make me a fan of their writing. And seeing that they're taking a stab at the FPS title, or genre I should say, I'm looking forward to see how this is going to play out. So overall, again, definitely a highlight, and a part of me almost wants to say Clockwork Revolution was probably my favorite reveal overall. Yes, even among Hellblade, well, Hellblade didn't really do much, Avowed and Fable, Clockwork Revolution looks really fun and promising for me. And now, the big one, Starfield. And let me walk it back a little bit. Yes, even though Starfield looked amazing, I'm still kind of like, damn, Clockwork Revolution is probably one of my favorite reveal because it's a new reveal versus Starfield, which we got an in-depth reveal, but let's talk about Starfield now. I got off the topic. It's Todd Howard, or rather, some people like to call him God Howard, next big game. I don't know if I use that title myself, but I find it kind of hilarious when people use it. Now, this game looks awesome and expansive and will have a solid amount of depth to it. The previous showings didn't really grab me, but I would say this one definitely did. The character creation, skill trees, base building, perks, mods, spaceship crafting, space combat, gunplay looks pretty good. The fact that shooting a shotgun in 0G will blast you backwards, not mind-blowing by any means, but this, wow, the little additional touches, I guess is what I'm getting at, the little levels of details they're adding. The factions, the story, your adoring fan from Oblivion is back into the game.
By Azura, by Azura, by Azura! It's the Grand Champion! I can't believe it's you standing here next to me. What? Vectera, by Vectera, by Vectera! Is it really, really you? I can't believe I get to stand near you, breathing the same air. I've got to have every molecule.
Need I say more? This game looks massive, and I can't wait to play it. It's coming out this September. Man, that said, I do want to touch on the 30 FPS situation. So, Todd Howard confirmed that the game is going to be 30 FPS, 4K, I believe. And it's kind of got the internet a little bit on fire. So I want to start by saying I do prefer 60 FPS over 4K and high graphical settings and ray tracing and all that fun stuff. Overall, my main thing I expected and wanted from this generation is the option of performance and quality modes. More of those, I should say, because a lot of games have given us that option. So I get the creative vision, as he was expressing. He wants people to really experience the fidelity. But for me, unless it's a hardware limitation, I would rather have 60 FPS at 1080p, medium settings, like a PC style of graphical customizations. But that being said, 30 FPS is not enough of a reason for me not to play, especially if it's a game I'm genuinely interested in. I played through Plague Tale Requiem before the performance mode was announced, and I actually enjoyed the game. Tears of the Kingdom, one of the biggest games this year, is 30 FPS ish. I've seen those frame drops. I know them frame drops happen. Yes, I know hardware difference, etc. Series X, Switch, blah blah blah. But my point is, 30 FPS doesn't automatically make a game terrible or unfinished like some would have you believe. And I'm not trying to tell other people how to feel. Is this what someone says the game's gonna be terrible and you should feel bad for being excited because it's next gen and it's 30 FPS? Like, I like 60 FPS too, but it is not that deep for me to say or agree with that line of thinking, I should say. And this whole world's most powerful console but 30 FPS thing as a way to mock the Series X. Look, there are plenty of 60 FPS titles and even 120 FPS titles that showcase the power of the console. If 30 FPS becomes the norm, then I'll understand the pitchforks and tossing that phrasing around. But for now, just chill out a little bit, or maybe play it on PC if it's actually good on PC, or wait for the long rumored Series X Pro. I don't think that's actually happened, but people are talking about Series X Pro. So overall, Starfield appears to be shaping up to be a fantastic game. And the year delay was worthwhile, at least from what we've seen. Of course, they'll need to execute the landing, and hopefully 30 FPS will be the least of our issues. I doubt it'll be a bug-free experience given the size of it, but I hope it's not plagued with game-breaking bugs that just ruins the experience for months on end until it's finally fixed. So, and yeah, that's about it. I know there's, like I said, there's over 27 games announced, but I don't want to do a full breakdown over everything that was announced. And I just wanted to talk about the overall quality of the show, which I think was fantastic personally. Not saying it was the greatest thing ever made by humankind or anything like that, but it was actually a really good show. And I wanted to highlight the games that I'm personally looking forward to. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm gonna end it here. So yeah, if you like the video, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. If you have any opinions on the show yourself, you want to share your excitements, your likes, your dislikes, drop those down below. Hit that subscribe button if you wanna or don't. It's up to you. Free world, whatever. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. So